Okay, so let me start by saying outside of the fold of triple darkness, outside of the fold of triple darkness, you know what I'm saying, my original people, the Egyptians, you know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about the lady that says she Egyptian or the people that keep talking about slavery. Like, oh, we was slaves because we was Egyptian. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the real Egypt. You know what I'm saying? The ones that they say is not Egyptian. You know what I'm saying? The ones that they say is not Egyptian. Let's talk about the Sunnis. Let's talk about the Arabs. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm an Arab. You know what I'm saying? The Arabs in the Middle East is Arab. Long story short. And let's walk back through history. You know what I'm saying? Because I be tired of being nice to people that just have an ignorant knowledge and understanding of life. So we're gonna walk back through the whole Egypt, how it was created, the reason why Africa is not like Egypt. You know what I'm saying? Simple. You know what I'm saying? So let's conquer and cover all of the mysteries that the Caucasian strip from, the general population. Because this is for everybody. It's not only for black people. You know what I'm saying? It's for everybody. It's right. It's right understanding. It's not Molly York. It's not aliens. It's real life. So let's start with Egypt and the Middle East. You know what I'm saying? And how they're the same people. Okay. So we're gonna start with Egypt, right? So Egypt, how Egypt rose to power initially, it wasn't through slaves of black Africans because they didn't have any labor to be done in Egypt. Pyramids came after Egypt was number one in the world selling silk. You know what I'm saying? Even China and the Caucasians came together to cover up the fact that Egyptians created silk. So you're gonna see if you look at history, it's gonna say China invented silk. They didn't invent silk. Egypt invented silk and all clothing and cloth, and they sold it to the places that was the most cold. You know what I'm saying? They sold it to the Greeks, they sold it to Europeans, and they basically took the silkworms from Africa and cultivated them in the desert. So there was a lot of jobs in the desert, but being that it was silk, it was a lot of women working in the desert. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't like women and men working in the desert. It was women working in the desert, and it was men working in the desert that knew how to tailor and knew how to make silk too. You know what I'm saying? And it became a big thing because around that time the hourglass was invented. They had time, but the hourglass was initially invented for duties like silk and taking care of the silkworms. The Egyptians put the silk. The Egyptians basically cultivated the silkworms in the desert because Africa has a lot of frogs and lizards, and they just gobble it up quick. You know what I'm saying? The desert has lizards too, but not like Africa. So, long story short, this is how Egypt rose to power because it was a gradual change. It wasn't just magic and overnight. So they was just basically worshiping Allah, you know what I'm saying? So they had that idea to cultivate silk, and millions of people got involved because everybody likes it. Because every Africa, every tent and every hut and tent, gazebos, all of that's ancient things. You think a gazebo is like something new, it's ancient. So they all, basically the whole Africa bought silk. The Middle East was created from like basically Egyptians, East Africans, and um people that knew how to cultivate silk. You know what I'm saying? Whether they was Caucasian or Chinese or not, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people, it attracted a lot of people, you know. So so the Middle East is basically African. Long story short, the Middle East is basically North African. After the Greeks got upset because Egypt was gaining too much power from silk, China at that time, China China's China, you know what I'm saying? They gonna sell their stuff. They got their weapons just so they could do petty things. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't really the conquering type of people. You know what I'm saying? China was China then, China is China now. You know, they was very crafty. They knew how to do a lot of things. So anyway, the Greeks is just like the rest of the Caucasians. So they tried to basically attack. They attack Egypt, you know, and they lost. They lost the battle. You know what I'm saying? Because it was Egypt and the Persians. So on their way home, Israel was created. Israel was created after the Greeks lost to Egypt because they had steel. So Israel was created because back then swords was worth so much that they couldn't give up their swords and return to Europe or they would be dead. You know what I'm saying? They would be killed. So they created Israel after they lost. You know what I'm saying? Because they couldn't go on. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get to how swords um basically has a lot to do with people that have power now. You know what I'm saying? So after the Greeks lost to Egypt, they created Israel because they didn't want to give up their swords to bandits. And Iran, you know what I'm saying? All of the Arabs, they're Egyptians, but they stayed in the desert because they got rich off of silk, kind of like Saudi Arabia. You know what I'm saying? How they got the houses built. That was all silk factories back, you know what I'm saying, way back in the day. So, so after that, after Israel was created, you know what I'm saying? After Israel was created, um, they had kept their weapons, they kept their swords or whatever, and they basically hunkered down, kept their swords. So after that, Egypt today is basically all the tanks are created from swords. So Egypt had a lot of swords from the silk that they cultivated in the desert. All the tanks that they have now is created from swords. You know what I'm saying? Africans did not use swords, so they don't really have tanks like that. That doesn't mean that they're poor because they don't have tanks, but they didn't fight like that. So they basically have a lot of guns. And that's what they like. You know what I'm saying? That's how they see fighting, and that's how they see war. But really we're all the same people that we always was. But in America, the history has changed and it's basically is twisted around, and you have these agents that saying forget Arabs, F Arabs. You know what I'm saying? They're agents of the devil because Arabs is black. Arabs are 100% black people. You know what I'm saying? So Africa will never be Egypt. You know what I'm saying? Ethiopia and Egypt are the same people. Ethiopian and Egyptians are the same exact people. And they've been fighting and arguing but way before the pyramids was ever created. Because Ethiopia is basically like a nicer version, you know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? Egypt was always gonna be black. You know what I'm saying? Sunni is always gonna be black. And it's just a better tribe of people. You know what I'm saying? It's the only Sunni is the only black people that don't fight each other, that know how to live normal. You know what I'm saying? Everything else is just whack. Like, you know what I'm saying? So long story short, nobody really wants a movement. You know what I'm saying? We don't need one. You know what I'm saying? That's their life. Sunni is our life.